In the torrential downpour, I sobbed and begged him not to leave. He sneered, flung me off, and turned around to marry my twin sister. When I was humiliated to the bone and hated him with every fiber of my being, he knelt and begged me for one more chance. I nursed a secret crush on Lucien for 3 years, risked my life to save him when someone plotted against him, then silently cared for him for 4 more at any cost. How many 7-year stretches can a girl spare? I gave him my entire youth, and right now he's holding roses, eyes glistening, gazing at my full-blood sister. His devotion stings like a blade. Watching Dad lead her down the aisle toward the man I've loved for 7 years feels like a fist wedged in my throat. Sour and aching, a sharp pulse stabs the left side of my chest over and over. He once knelt before me and promised forever. Today, in front of family, friends, and every camera, he repeats the vow to her. At this instant, does any flicker of our past cross his mind? Does he feel even a sliver of guilt? Someone nudges me. The officiant's calling you. On the stage he chirps, "Little sis, must be so thrilling to watch your big sis enter matrimony. Let's dab those tears. It's time to bring up the rings." Ha! The man I love is marrying my sister, and I'm the one ordered to deliver the wedding bands. This segment was his special request, and she heartily approved. The couple stand on the crimson-carpeted platform, looking down at me, her watery eyes brim with provocation, his dark ones swirl with contempt. I pluck a tissue, gracefully blot my cheeks, rise, gather my gown, and glide forward. I'm not composed. I'm acting, refusing to lose in tatters. I reach them to the MC's noisy patter, hands trembling as I present the rings I designed myself, and watch them slide the symbols onto each other's fingers, rings meant for him and me, then embrace, then kiss. The left side of my chest convulses again. After the applause, the officiant invites the single guests to ready themselves for the bridal bouquet. She takes the mic instead. Sorry, everyone, let me be selfish. I'm handing my good luck straight to my little sister. Any objections? More applause. The MC whoops in my ear, praising our sisterly bond. She shoves the bouquet into my arms, hugs me, and whispers, "Aurora, you can't beat me. You're destined to lose to me for life." From childhood she's snatched everything I cared about. Toys, clothes, our parents' love, then blamed me when trouble came. Because our faces are identical. Grown up, she stole my honors, my spotlight, my grades, even my college acceptance, because our faces are identical. Now, at the altar, she's seized my man and won without suspense. Is it still because our faces are identical? When Lucien looks at her, does he ever see me? The MC herds relatives on stage for photos. People scramble, honored to stand beside a titan like him. I slip away against the tide, flee. Really, the man I loved for 7 years gutted me in the cruelest way. I can't accept that he stopped loving me. Can't accept him as my brother-in-law. I wander aimless, letting the ill-fitting stilettos chew my heels. Every step is a knife, but flesh pain is nothing beside the pain inside. Storm clouds swallow the sky. Fat raindrops slap my face. I tilt my head so no one can tell tears from rain. Soon the heavens spill, drenching me from crown to toe. This rain mirrors the day I begged Lucien to stay and he cast me aside. Without warning, the rain stops. I open my eyes. A black umbrella hovers above. A familiar voice says, "Aurora, Aurora, when you're tired, look back. I've always been behind you." Julien's voice, warm as winter sun, thaws my shattered, frozen heart. My dear Julien, even more foolish than I. He loves me more than I ever loved Lucien. I love him too, but it has nothing to do with romance. I used to swear friendship lasts forever and told him not to sacrifice for me. He still sees only me. Yet how could I let love sully him? A Cullinan glides to the curb. The rear window glides down. The man who tore my heart apart lounges inside, cigarette glowing at his lips. The ember climbs the air in bluish wisps, veiling his perfect profile. Get in. He doesn't spare me a glance. The order cold and proud. Julien shields me. Hawthorne, you're a married man now. Lucien lifts his gaze to the hand clutching my wrist. Eyes cruel and sharp. Get in. I hesitate, then climb inside. Julien grips my wrist, pleading, "Aurora, don't go." I manage a brittle smile. He and I need to end this. I bend to enter, but before I touch the seat Lucien hooks my waist and hauls me onto his lap. He's always domineering. I once adored his strength, especially in bed. Now I find it sickening. He pinches my fingers, yanks antiseptic wipes, and scrubs the wrist Julien touched. The rough friction burns. I flinch. He tightens his grip and scrubs harder, until pale skin splits and bleeds. Only Only then does he stop, satisfied, pressing a kiss to the wound. The act terrifies me. He was forceful before, never twisted. I go rigid, watching him open the first aid kit, soak a cotton swab, dab antiseptic on the cut. His touch turns feather soft, so gentle I forget time, until the gauze is taped and he cradles my foot, peeling off the stilettos and flinging them away as if they've wounded his treasure. When my feet are bandaged, he presses my head to his chest and holds me in the silence while rain drums and the car glides on. Let me drown in this fake tenderness and never wake. But journeys end, dreams break. The car stops before a mansion, our chosen newlywed home once, now stamped with glaring crimson. Every decor inside was mine. Now nothing here belongs to me. Lucien, why bring me here? One public wedding humiliation isn't enough. He wants me to watch the bridal night. He says nothing, carries me through the door, up the stairs, into the master bedroom, and rips my gown apart. I slap him. Lucien, what the hell do you want? You. He pins me down, mouth claiming mine, taking ruthlessly all night. At dawn he finally releases me. I pass out from exhaustion. In sleep I feel the roof leak, rain pounding into my lungs. The instant it stops I jolt awake. Aurora stands over me, eyes venomous. Keep pouring. She orders a maid. Icy water slashes down, shards slicing skin. Blood seeps into the crimson sheet. Once the maid is dismissed, she unleashes her fury, screaming so shrilly, I catch only the last line. Why? Why steal my husband? I laugh coldly. Ask your groom why he spent his wedding night inside his sister-in-law. I rise despite the ache and bear the marks her husband left on me. Scarlet-eyed, she lunges and claws my throat. I met Lucien first. Why does he love you? We were born together. Why does everyone only see you? I hate sharing this face. Die. Her hands tighten, intent on snapping my neck. After the night with him I'm too weak. My struggle is a kitten's swipe. My head balloons. The room spins. Sight blurs. Suddenly she lets go. Drops to her knees. Tears glittering. Aurora. Little sis. I love Lucien so much. Please, don't fight me for him. Her gaze is earnest. Fragile, as if she's the victim. When I catch my breath I notice Lucien leaning in the doorway. Cigarette dangling, enjoying the show. He watched her try to strangle me. 7 years of my life fed to a dog. He lifts a brow, strides in, and helps her up. Honey, sorry, I was drunk. This slut seduced me. I mistook her for you, identical faces, and all. She coils around him, sobbing. He inhales smoke, blows a lazy ring, eyes mocking me. Don't cry, baby. The bridal room's tainted, let's pick another. As he guides her out she pouts. Lucien, I never want to see her again. Done. He snaps. A hulking guard enters. I clutch the sheet, begging, Hawthorne, I saved your life once, let me go. I swear you'll never see me again. He lifts his chin. The guard drags me downstairs to the wine cellar. So this is my prison. He hurls me inside, cuts the power, locks the door. Pitch black. My claustrophobia claws, heart racing, breath ragged. I collapse on the freezing floor, screaming into silence. The world fades to void. I drift down a tunnel of time and land on the night that changed everything. Looking at Lucien collapsed in a pool of blood. My heart still ached. I still rushed to save him without hesitation. I really was incurable. Aurora, Aurora, wake up, please. It sounded like Julien's voice. I struggled to lift my eyelids. Julien held my hand tight, red-eyed yet smiling. Thank God, you're finally awake. Don't touch me. I'm filthy. I jerked my hand back in a panic. Turning my face away, he lay gently on the hospital bed, encircling me from behind, murmuring tenderly at my ear, Aurora, you've been unconscious 2 days. I was terrified. The past is past. I'll always be right behind you, protecting you, loving you. Tears crossed the bridge of my nose, slid into the other eye, then slipped from the corner, soaking the pillow. Julien, I'm dirty. He hugged me harder, kissed my hair. If you can't get over this hurdle, I'll go with you to the police and let the law punish those bastards. The law. In Riverdale. Lucien is the law. 4 years ago, Hawthorne's eldest son, Hua Lin, scheming for the top seat, framed Lucien and had him driven out, then sent assassins who chased him overseas. One frigid, snowy night, I was heading home after evening class when I found Lucien beside the snowman at the far end of Lover. Back then he was covered in blood. The surrounding snow was scarlet. Watching him on the verge of death broke my heart. While I waited for the ambulance, 2 tall men appeared in the halo of a distant street lamp. Instinct told me they were after Lucien. I buried him in the snow as fast fast as I could, but the metallic scent of blood hung in the air. How could I fool them? As they came closer, my brain shut down. My right hand fumbled into my bag for a craft knife and slashed my arm to bleed. They stopped in front of me, sizing me up. One stepped forward and asked in the local tongue, "Little girl, what happened? Help." As someone robbed my money. I was shaking too hard to speak clearly. "Don't be scared. Did you get a look at him?" I gestured wildly, voice quivering, and stammered a description of Lucien's features. Hearing it, they exchanged sinister smiles, tossed me a few bills, and left. I exhaled, collapsed in the snow, clutching my arm, praying the ambulance would hurry yet fearing its siren might draw them back. Luckily, Lucien reached the hospital safely. The doctor shook his head at the sight of his wounds. I knelt and begged him to save Lucien. He sighed. His injuries are too severe. He's lost too much blood, and he froze so long in the snow. Surgery is high risk, and the blood bank is empty. Even the gods can't help. Without thinking, I rolled up my sleeve. Take mine. I'm O negative. I was menstruating at the time and had already lost a lot of blood from my arm. Transfusing him then was close to suicide. Still, I never hesitated. Miraculously, I pulled through, and he survived. But Hualin's hunt didn't stop. To keep him alive, I dragged him from hiding place to hiding place. School was abandoned. Besides acting like a nursemaid, I worked 3 grueling jobs by day to pay for food and his medical bills, and stayed up nights drawing sketches. During that time my hands turned so rough they snagged fabric. Nothing like a jewelry designer's hands. I slept fewer than 4 hours a day, forever sporting heavy dark circles. I lived on the cheapest fare, sallow and gaunt, mending and remending my clothes until every inch screamed poverty. Bent under that load, I clenched my teeth. Hold on, once my pieces sell, we'll have money. Occasionally despair crept in, but I never regretted saving Lucien or giving up my future to tramp through hell with him. During the first year of recovery, he lay in bed all day, refused treatment, and exploded in rage, smashing whatever he could grab. Whenever he flipped the dinner table, I ate well. Back then I was utterly, pathetically cheap. I pinched every penny to keep his meals nutritious while starving myself. When he threw food on the floor, I sneaked outside, scooped it up with grit and snow, and wolfed it down. Delicious. Good thing he never saw me like that. Otherwise, he and Aurora's twin would have trampled my dignity and laughed. By the 3rd year, he could stand on his own and mellowed enough to crack the occasional joke. I was relieved. My Lucien was coming back. He began plotting in secret, waiting for the chance to reclaim Hawthorne. Another year, and he was fully healed, scarred, but otherwise flawless. He arranged a romantic proposal, knelt before me, and solemnly vowed a lifetime. I never doubted his love. On Christmas Eve, he laced his fingers with mine and strolled lover while thick snow squeaked beneath our feet. Neither of us spoke. We just listened to our steps fall in perfect sync. We reached the spot where I'd found him. He slipped an arm around my waist and smiled down at the snow in my hair. Aurora, does this count as growing old together? Startled, I dusted the snow from my head, then stood on tiptoe to brush off his. I don't want this kind of white head. I want 30, 50 real years with you, true gray hairs. Deal, he laughed, kissing my forehead. Come home with me. I want you beside me when I take the throne. By then I'd received an offer from a top jewelry design house. Across 4 years, I'd clawed my way up from an obscure workshop, surviving countless rejections, plagiarisms, thefts of credit, only to land my dream job. He picked that very moment to return. Though it tore me, I chose to stay with him. In my universe, Lucien always came first. Back home, in just 6 months he toppled Hualin and seized control of Hawthorne. And Lucien, damn him, never forgets a slight. Those who'd helped Hualin he repaid 1,000-fold. Some tried seeking legal shields. He sneered. In Riverdale, I am the law. No one who had hurt him met a kind end. And Hualin's fate was the grisliest of all. He promised, and he delivered. Now he has wounded me so deeply that talking about legal justice is like throwing eggs at stone. When Julien asked again, I feigned acceptance. Let's not poke that mad dog. Let it go. Before the words left my mouth, the ward door exploded inward. Lucien strolled in, hands in pockets. Seeing Julien sharing the bed with me, the bastard's eyes went bloodshot. He yanked Julien off by the collar and beat him senseless. The more I shielded Julien, the crazier he became, until I took a lethal blow meant for Julien and coughed up blood. Only then did he stop. Panicked, he scooped me up and bolted from the room, shouting, Doctor, save her, now. The fear in his eyes was real, the tremor in his voice unmistakable. Does he still care? If he does, why did he announce his marriage to Aurora's twin on the eve of our wedding? If he does, why drag me to the bridal suite and force himself on me? If he does, why lock me in the wine cellar knowing full well I'm severely claustrophobic? He doesn't. Not one bit. When I was wheeled out of surgery, Lucien had slipped back into his sneering mask. He sauntered over, smirking wickedly. Between Julian and me, who's bigger? Me. He moved behind my wheelchair and pushed me toward the elevators. The corridor was crowded, but his aura was so menacing that families quickly wheeled their loved ones away. The doors slid open. I instinctively clutched the armrests, gasping, heart hammering, pinching my chin. He forced my head up. Forgot. You're scared of elevators. Huh, some claustrophobia. You just haven't ridden enough. The bastard called the chief. He needed an elevator. Then he rode it up and down 800 times, with me inside. I went chalk white, my hospital gown soaked with sweat, muscles spasming as if I were having a seizure. When we finally exited, he installed me in a new suite, undressed me, wiped me down, combed my hair, massaged my skin. Had this mad dog been possessed? I fought back. He pinned me, buried his head in my neck and bit my ear, whispering, "You're mine, forever." My scalp prickled, gooseflesh rippling like wind over wheat. Lucien, maybe book an appointment with neurology. He snickered. I love you. However you change. I love you. I froze. Had this lunatic started talking nonsense? His grip tightened, fingers crushing my jaw. You said it yourself. Don't you remember? I laughed coldly. I love humans, not rabid dogs. The beast sank his teeth into my collarbone. When he lifted his head, blood dotted his canines. He held my stare and slowly licked the crimson away. You will love me. This is your fate. Get lost. I snatched the fruit knife from the bedside table and pointed it at him. Hands shaking, voice shaking. He grabbed the blade barehanded and pressed it to his left chest. Right here. If you want roots dug up, aim for the root. Blood streamed along his wrist into his cuff, dyeing the white shirt red. Instinctively, I let go, forgetting even to breathe. With a flick, he sent the knife spinning into the opposite wall, then clamped a blood-slick palm around my neck. Don't dream of escaping. You stay chained to me until you die. I met his eyes, almost asking if he still loved me, but the hatred there swallowed my words. Aurora's twin must have fed him lies, making him think Julian and I. Fine, let him think it. Explanations are pointless now. At the door, he smirked. 2 days ago, Julian broke into my bridal suite. He only took something worthless, but it's still burglary. He locks me up, yet the one who rescues me is labeled a robber, and I'm the worthless thing. Lucien knows I'll never abandon Julian. Blackmailing me with Julian's freedom is his last card. Utterly despicable, and I'm powerless. 4 years ago, to help him dodge Hualin's assassins, I cut contact with everyone back home, even my parents. Now I have no one in the country. To free Julian, I must beg Aurora's twin. How ironic. I dialed her number and promised, get Julian out of jail and I'd vanish forever. She testified, cleared Julian of the robbery charge, and thoughtfully booked our tickets. I dragged my battered body to Skyhaven, endured 2 transfers and 20 hours in the air, and finally arrived. The moment we stepped off the plane, his private jet rolled to a stop in front of us. He descended the air stair with a golf club in hand, swaggering like he owned the tarmac. Go, Aurora. Get out of here. Julian blocked my path, glaring. You betrayed her first. Lucien, if you don't love her, why chase her to hell and back? Lucien's narrowed phoenix eyes flashed murderous ice. Panicking, I shoved Julian aside and spread my arms in front of Lucien. Please, I'm begging you. Remember I once saved your life. Let Julian go. Let me go. Lucien hurled me away and swung the club, shattering Julian's leg. I scrambled up, stumbled over, and threw myself around Lucien, weeping, sinking slowly to my knees. He hoisted me by the throat, jaw clenched. Your knees come that cheap? I don't know what they're worth. I only know I've knelt twice in my life, once to beg a doctor to save him, once to beg him to spare Julian. Julian's face was paper white, sweat beading, yet he forced a smile, telling me to run. I dragged him into this. All I could do was apologize. Lucien hauled me onto the plane, forced me to kneel, and growled. Still planning to run? This mad dog is capable of anything. If I flee again, he'll kill Julian in front of me. Tears streaming, I shook my head. I'll stay. I'll do whatever you say. He gave a foul laugh, unbuckled his belt, and crooked a finger. I crawled, looked up, and pleaded, Hawthorne, please, not this. His eyes boiled with hatred as he shoved my head down. My stomach heaved. I threw up all over him, furious. He throttled me, red-eyed. You like it well enough, why not mine? I didn't even understand him. I let him squeeze, wishing he'd finish the job, but he let go, flung me aside, snarling, filthy slut. go wash. I lay limp on the cabin floor. Ignoring him, he dragged me to the lavatory, stripped me, climbed in with me. In that cramped space he forced me into every position, again and again, until we landed. An ambulance waited at the foot of the stairs. At the hospital I refused every exam. I wanted to die. An old doctor took my hand, pressed it to my belly, and sighed. "Child, you're pregnant." Lucien is the only man I've ever known. The baby was conceived on our wedding night, yet he swore it was Julian's. He wouldn't listen. He pinned me and poured abortion pills down my throat. The dose was too high, my body too weak. I hemorrhaged, walked the edge of death, and came back. When I opened my eyes, the first thing I saw was shouting, "Perfect," she gloated. "Congrats, little sis. Looks like you'll never be a mother." I curved my lips. "Has Lucien ever touched you? You'll never carry his child." She ground her teeth. "Aurora, just wait." "Oh, I will." Old scores beg to be settled. Right now she's the tool Lucien uses to disgust me. To rid myself of her I must use him. The Lucien of today is no stray dog like 4 years ago. To crush him I must do what he once did. Lie low. Grow strong. I have to heal before I can fight. During my recovery he paraded her in front of me, flaunting their love like clowns. Maybe he thinks I'm still the lovesick fool. What delusion. When he realized I wasn't jealous, he smashed the sweet to splinters, then kept me locked away, inventing new torments each night, and sending videos of Julian's beatings for dessert. When he was gone, she filled the gaps, spray painting curses, shredding my sketches, spiking my food, and dumping ugly strangers on me. I'd love to dice them both and feed the rats, but I'm not ready. His roots are too deep, yet every sign shows he still loves me, and hates me. My body is failing. The clock is ticking. I'll gamble once, even if I lose. The price can't exceed what I paid to save him. That night, after Lucien finished with me, he stalked to the shower. I snatched his phone and texted her. Tomorrow 8 p.m. Villa 4. Lover. The Estate, a new Hawthorne project, hosts its launch gala for A-listers that evening. She's been dreaming he'll parade her, the legal missus, at exactly this sort of party. That message will keep her awake. I'm preparing a present she'll never forget. The grand ballroom shimmered under low cello notes. Exquisitely dressed men and women gossiped in clusters. "Ready, Hawthorne?" the man beside me asked gently. I lifted my gaze to Dominic and smiled. "Let's go." Once Lucien's closest brother, Dominic had drifted away when fortunes collided. In Riverdale's shifting battleground he alone could trade blows with Hawthorne. I promised to help him raise Lucien's empire, and he promised me every resource. I slipped my arm through his and stepped into the ballroom, walking toward Lucien through a corridor of envy. Years had passed since I'd worn makeup. Tonight I spent an entire day choosing looks. Dominic stayed patient, offering honest opinions on every gown. Only a sliver of doubt remained, until I saw Lucien's stunned, jealous stare. Victory. Dominic greeted him with polished courtesy. "President Hawthorne." Long time. They clasped hands, knuckles whitening. Lucien slid his gaze to me. "President Dominic. Didn't know you dined on leftovers." "What you don't know," Dominic replied evenly, "is how long I've loved Hawthorne. I failed to protect her from a rabid dog once. Never again." Their grip tightened, silent blades clashing, shouting sashayed over, hooking my arm in counterfeit sisterhood. "Ladies, meet my identical twin. Can you tell us apart?" Riverdale's socialites swarmed, showering Hawthorne with compliments. I used the moment to lace her drink, watched her drain it, then slipped away. I wandered the garden lawn, hem brushing soft grass that reminded me of snow on Lover Once Upon a Dream. A breeze carried a familiar scent, knotting my stomach. Lucien seized me from behind, pinching my chin, kissing me so hard I thought my neck would break. I hit dial for Dominic, only to have the call cut off. Unreliable teammate. Footsteps approached. Dominic rolled up his sleeve, carved forearms glinting, and punched Lucien off me, dragging me into his arms. Lucien staggered, wiped blood, sneered. "All this for seconds. Dominic steadied me. "Wait here." He strode back, slammed Lucien against the marble, and kept swinging until his knuckles tired, then wiped them on Lucien's jacket. "From today, Aurora is under my protection. Mind your own cheating wife." A bodyguard whispered in Lucien's ear. With one last lethal glare he limped away. "Let's enjoy the show," Dominic said, lacing his fingers through mine. "No act, just warmth." Inside, the pantry was jammed. Ecstatic moans and sharp slaps spilled into the hall. Shouting astride a waiter was already viral. Lucien's PR machine roared, but the net outran it. Within hours her performance circled the globe. Hawthorne lost $100 billion in market cap. I sent 2 lavish flower baskets to his penthouse office office and dropped by in person. His assistant tried to block me. My bodyguard flipped him. Through the crack of the door I saw her on her knees, sobbing. I was framed. Lucian, believe me, he kicked her aside. She crawled back, clutching his leg. It was Aurora. She drugged my glass. We look identical. Tell the press the woman in the video was her. Classic shouting, laundering blame. He stared, silent. Sacrificing me would save Hawthorne, irresistible to a man who drinks my pain. Suddenly he seized her throat. Touch Aurora and I'll kill you. She gaped. I'm your legal wife. Protect me. He flung her off. Be content with what you've had. She stood, trembling, then laughed, an eerie sound. Finally she screamed, Lucian, you and she are finished. The moment you doubted her, it was over. Lucian slapped her. Shut up. Luo shouting laughed through her tears, bitter and broken. Lucian, if I can't have your love, ruining it feels just as good. He seized her throat. What the hell do you mean? She only laughed, the wild, triumphant cackle of a villain whose scheme has finally paid off. Lucian had no patience left. He yanked out a lighter and shoved the flame toward her face. Talk. Luo shouting lifted her chin in defiance. Go on. Burn me. Once my face is ruined, the only woman left in the scandal will be Aurora. Lucian hated being threatened, but her words froze him in place, as if something had punched the air from his lungs. Luo shouting sneered and swaggered out. I clapped, offering my sincerest congratulations. Hawthorne, congratulations on going viral overnight. A fame this explosive is practically unheard of in the entire socialite circuit. She ground her teeth, glaring at me with venom. Aurora, don't get cocky. Only the living have hope. I smiled coolly. Then you're hopeless. Start imagining how your husband will finish you off. She shrieked. It's you. You're the one dying. Lucian burst in, scanned me in a frantic sweep, then spun and clamped his hands around Luo shouting's neck. Explain. Now. Her face purpled as she rasped. Lit, Errol, Ly. He flung her aside, ordered his assistant to watch her, and scooped me into his arms, racing for the elevator. I'm taking you to the hospital. You'll be fine. You have to be. He crushed me against his chest, panic cracking his voice. In the car he kept urging the driver faster, acting as if I were a trauma patient gasping for time. Every few seconds he studied my swollen face, pressed a trembling palm to my forehead. Aurora, you're pale. Does anything hurt? His hand was slick with sweat. The clammy touch revolted me. I shoved it away. Took you this long to notice? At the hospital he carried me from lab to lab, ordering every test from scalp to toe. The results floored us. I was in renal failure, the nausea, the vomiting, the vanishing appetite. Classic signs. Apparently, the doctors suspected my daily meds. They wanted the bottles for analysis. 4 months Lucian's daily torture had fed my depression, and antidepressants had become my staple. When the nausea started, I'd assumed the illness was simply worsening. Lucian's assistant delivered every pill I'd ever swallowed. Lab report. My antidepressants were starch-laced with high-dose chemo agents, counterfeit poison that quietly shredded kidneys until they gave out. No wonder Luo shouting said I was dying. The masterpiece was hers. Lucian dragged her to the hospital and tried to force her to donate a kidney. Identical twins match well, but the idea of sheltering that viper's organ inside me turned my stomach. Strangely, the diagnosis made me almost happy. I finally had a legitimate reason to die. I refused the transplant, yet Lucian still browbeat her through compatibility workups. Irony intervened. Years of promiscuity had left her with a raging infectious disease, salvation through syphilis. You could say. No surgeon would touch her. Still, she stormed my suite to rant, jabbing a finger at the man she'd adored for 9 years. Lucian, you're a loser. A total loser. He fisted her hair and funneled every fake antidepressant down her throat. She gagged, clawing at her mouth, but bodyguards pinned her while tape sealed her lips. Then they hauled her out. When the circus ended, Lucian turned, dropped to his knees. I stiffened. What now? Mad dog. His eyes brimmed with shame. Aurora, I'm sorry. Hatred blinded me. I swallowed Luo shouting's lies and thought you were colluding with Hawthorne. He cracked his own face with a savage slap. Sorry. Can I have one more chance? I finally understood his motto, uproot every weed. He believed I was Hawthorne's plant, then watch me fall for him and torch my own future to rebuild his. So he loved me and hated me for it. What I couldn't fathom was what she'd told him that made such lunacy believable. His assistant fetched a fat dossier from headquarters. The clasp snapped. Photographs cascaded, Luo shouting and Hawthorne tangled in every position imaginable. Page after page. Oh, the grotesque poses Lucian had forced on me were copy-pasted from these. He'd thought the woman in the shots was me. Revenge by choreography. Hilarious. The man I'd loved with my life for 7 years had switched me to enemy territory on the strength of a few glossy prints. In the end, he simply hadn't loved me. Desperate to prove his innocence, he shook the folder. Nothing else fell. He ripped it open. A single folder folded sheet fluttered out. He scooped it up and presented it with both hands. I didn't want to believe. But this diploma proves you were in the country when Hawthorne took me down. Central Academy of Fine Arts, my first admission. Top scorer nationwide. Luo Xiaoting had coveted the seat, so our parents' gift wrapped it for her. I repeated senior year under her name. Before the next college exam, a foreign design school offered me a place based on my portfolio alone. I'd already loathed my family. I seized the exit, however obscure the college. That choice put me in Lucian's path, and handed Luo Xiaoting the wedge she needed. Once again he knelt. Aurora, I love you so much. Give me one more chance, please. He gazed up like a stray begging scraps. I smiled faintly. Lucian, I will never reconcile with you in this lifetime. He crawled forward, clutching my hands. I'm not asking forgiveness, just let me stay. Let me care for you. I laughed coldly and kicked his chest. If you still cherish a single good memory of us, stay out of my sight. You sicken me. He refused to leave, so I called Dominic. When Dominic arrived, Lucian didn't resist. He trailed us like an abandoned child. We climbed into the car. He jogged beside it, eyes glued to my window. Dominic accelerated until the figure shrank in the mirror and vanished. Dominic handed me a pink thermos. Still game to help me? I looked back, taking the cup. Why stop now? Thanks. His gentle smile matched his polished voice. First rule of alliance: get your strength back. I'm already on the donor lists, results soon. Appreciate it, Shaw. But I'm not looking for a long life. He didn't even blink. He merely ruffled my hair. Lucian's tough. I'll need time to bring him down. You follow doctor's orders so you can stick around for the finale. I changed the subject to Julian, begging Dominic to take me to him. Poor Julian, Lucian's torture had landed him in ICU. I wept at his bedside. He lifted a trembling hand to dry my tears, forcing a smile. Aurora, don't cry. I'm not dying. Just can't join your world tour. I sobbed. Get well and I'll show you the world instead. He winked, squeezed my hand, and drifted off. Visiting hours ended. The nurse ushered me out. I kissed his forehead. Rest, big bro. I'll be back tomorrow. On the ride home I'd scrolled travel sites, planning the trip we'd start the moment he discharged. That tiny wish burned like a pilot light in the dark, reason enough to keep breathing. Late that night, while I mapped itineraries, Dominic burst in and thrust a letter at me. No time, read. Julian had left it. Too weak to write. A nurse had penned his words. Aurora, Big Brother's clock just ran out. Going on ahead. You're borrowing my kidney, so take good care of it. I'll want it back when we meet again. I can only walk with you this far. Next lifetime I'll love you longer. Laugh more. It's your best look. A vice clamped my chest. A high-pitched whine filled my skull, pain rippling outward in waves. Dominic seized my shoulders, shouting something I couldn't hear. The world blurred, twisted. His face melted into colors. When awareness returned, I was on an operating table. The surgeon asked if I consented to the transplant. After a pause, I nodded. The overhead light blazed. The anesthesiologist pushed milky drug into the fore. My eyelids sank. The circle of light shrank to a pinprick. Then nothing. The surgery succeeded. Life stayed tethered to my body. From then on, every minute belonged to both Julian and me. I had to live and laugh. 4-2. During recovery, I kept chipping away at Lucian's empire for Dominic. Lucian himself waged no fight. He spent his days tormenting Luo Xiaoting and his nights whining at my door. Unable to endure his cruelty, she leaped from a high window. 8 months later, Hawthorne filed for bankruptcy. Lucian was sentenced to death for murder, assault, unlawful imprisonment, tax evasion, charges stacking higher than the sky. The day before execution he asked to see me. I refused, but I took Julian's ashes and stood over the corpse. Afterward, with Julian in my arms, I rushed to Skyhaven. The promised world tour was finally on the departure board. Dominic caught up at Skyhaven and pressed